Hi, I'm Mohammed Hafiz, and you might have known me from my first video unboxing the iPhone 12 Pro. But today I wanted to make a different video, a review video of the most beloved animated series, Murder Drones. It's important to note that I watched this series before last year, but I had a negative reception back then about this animation and its writing. But I decided to watch it again last night and also again today to give a proper constructive criticism. Because I noticed that this series, despite what everyone is saying, is actually not that good at all. Before I start, I must warn you that I'm just trying to give constructive criticism. If you're a fan of the series or love the series, I'm not trying to discourage you. I just want to give proper, valid concerns so that the creator of the show, Liam Vickers, can take note and solve this issue in the future, with probably season 2 probably happening. We'll divide this into two parts. The first part will be covering the pilot and the other will be covering the show. I haven't rewatched the show. I watched the pilot. So I'll be only giving this video will only be about the pilot. And before we start, I think it's important I establish what is the framework going to be here, my framework. So my framework has these three things: attention, context, and execution. So just like my previous video, I'll be using this framework. The attention is what the creator intended, the atmospheric feeling, and what he wants to convey. But the creator's ability to convey a specific mood by using all the elements in the filmmaking process to convey a single feeling. Context doesn't make sense. Like, what is motivating this, and how does it move it forward, the plot forward, the characters forward. And finally, we have execution, which is executing on the intent. So if I want a really nice warmth, you can see it. The execution is using the color temperature you see in this camera, switching the color temperature to this, and using a warmer tungsten light. Let me give you one example. Sonic EYX, a famous Sonic.exe fan game. The intention of the game is to create a lucid, almost surreal experience, and you can clearly see it. The context is that it is taking place on a computer, where it can deliberately mess with your computer using codes, because it is a virus, and you are the player slash victim witnessing it. And the execution. The execution is using the 2D pixels art style to create the old game feel. To use windows that move around, deliberately using the codes to deliberately mess with some of your computer controls to get you immersed and make the attention clear on display. So you understand and what is this framework and how it is used. So now let's talk about murder drones.
Hey fellas! Ooh, deal me in, I love rummy. Wait, no, I'm going to murder everyone. Rain check!
Well, this video is going to cover some spoilers, and I won't be telling you what the series is about because by now everyone has seen the pilot that came out almost 5 years ago. So we'll have to go into this without me mentioning. If you're new to the series, I suggest watching that pilot and then coming back here. So let's get into it. Unfortunately, this show, it's unclear what's the tone Liam Vickers wants to set. It switches between horror, action, thriller, anime, teen comedy, emotional drama, and a PG-13 equivalent to a kids show with its cliches, unfortunately, and many more, but it never seems to be set on one, and unfortunately, and some of the murder drones who have supposedly been into the planet for a long time is a bunch of teenagers, inexperienced teenagers who says edgy things, and I can clearly see that the author is trying to do hashtag relatable in his work. This is not a good thing because you're just bending the story to your will just to tell one little statement, and it's not a story. Also, another issue is that Liam Vickers wants to have a massive fan base and base so that he could do fan service moments, and he is clearly trying to force that, and also establishing a mystery box and lore by having exposition opening in the beginning rather than cutting to the chase, which unfortunately any form of exposition, direct exposition, is a red flag because you're talking to the audience, breaking the fourth wall. That is not a good thing. The main negative of trying to make a massive fan base and make a lore over a cohesive and concise storytelling is that this will make you a little bit of a mess, since you're forcing so much exposition and characters who are supposed to be mature and competent. This can deliberately mess up your story as you're focused on creating a massive fan base and lore, and as a result the story suffers. Since you are focused on those, you have to resort to using the most conventional plot beats, repetitive plot beats, and more of the most conventional stuff. And even this exposition is not inherently bad. Some other media uses it, but they use it effectively to set the tone and the atmosphere of the story. But this is purely for creating a massive lore and mystery boxes for your favorite mad pats out there, and that is not a good thing. And one more thing I like to talk about is that he wants to use the surface level anime techniques like cropped eyeline and horizontally or vertically to create this so-called black bars, which is in the Ultra Panimation 2.7 6:1 ratio, which unfortunately you're using wrong. He uses black bar to over-dramatize important moment, to emphasize an important moment. I guess, yes. While I can seem to interpret the show as a anime style, teen drama slash comedy that constantly forces laws and mystery box this pilot to create massive fan bases and have lots of theorists theorizing about it. So the show won't be forgotten, but it actually makes it a bit more problematic, and that is certainly what I can interpret. But let's just ask, does it make sense? And that leads us to context. Does the show make sense? So, unfortunately, this pilot has a bit of a inconsistent issue. First, the show establishes that there were 3 metal doors that keeps the murder drones out, and yet the murder drone and drags Ree and Yuzi with him and fly through the roof, which is a glass window, which they could have taken before because they're flying robots. They can easily get in from there, and that kind of lost my immersion, the sense of danger, unfortunately. Another issue I like to point out is that the murder drones, which has been there for hundreds of years, are a bunch of teenagers saying edgy things. And unfortunately, that makes it a bit hard to connect, especially Yuzi, which is a 20-year-old psychopathic brat that unfortunately shouts.
Bite me!
Yeah, that's quite terrible. So, and is there anything motivating Yuzi to go out? Well, I have to say only one, and that is an internal motivation, and that is good. Her desire to build that, get more parts for her weapon. But if she didn't have this motivation, I think it would have been the author slash the creator mind controlling the character to do whatever they want, and that is certainly not good. That certainly happened with Gareth Edwards, the creator, where the story was lacking. The intention and execution were brilliant, but the context and the story of the screenplay were a sacrifice, unfortunately. And I think it's sort of similar here. Also, another issue is that the characters immediately switch quickly rather than in more deliberate, slow one. Not saying slow, but something more than just a simple bullying from the other murder drones would suffice. It should have been it should have had more motivation for N to switch side, and also eternal motivation. That's why. So maybe I could live with all of that inconsistent issue if it weren't meant for execution. All the filmmaking slash all the tools the creator has at his disposal to help construct this feeling slash vibes this creator wants. And what does Liam Vickers does about execution? Well, well, I'm afraid it is spectacle, not execution. Why? Because he uses all the surface level anime techniques like slow motion, fast cuts, and extreme black bars, forcing, unfortunately, yeah. and and while there are other pieces of media that it uses these, the difference is that they use them deliberately. Yeah, have if we compare these two scenes, the one between Yuzi and Yuzi versus and this fight scene from Harakiri, Sugumo versus Kanabe. Yeah, I hope I got that right. If you watch the two, you'll notice they're much drastically different. In Harakiri, the fight is tense, very suspenseful, showing that it's a mind game. It's not just hitting the swords. It's making the right or wrong on deliberate moves that if not done carefully would cost them their life. And it uses longer shots length and it uses composition to lead the eye. Yeah. But what does Murder Drones does? It uses fast cuts, slow motion, all the techniques in not just surface level anime techniques, but in the intensified continuity of today. All the conventional shots and techniques modern directors are using. Heck, even Hollywood is using. Shot, reverse shot. That isn't entirely bad on its own, but when you have all almost when this becomes the norm, when every project relies on it, it loses all effect. The drones is certainly one of them. And about the fast cut, there was actually no issue at all with the fast cuts, because if used deliberately, it can aid in the action. But unfortunately, this show cuts too fast. And you know who usually likes fast cuts? Gen Zs with their phones. No offense, of course, but Gen Zs with their phones. Here's how I like to think of it. The short lengths in the shows slash film or any other media, I like to call them projects. The short lengths immediately tell me the attention span of the director. So if I see a Harakiri, it has a much longer shot length, and I immediately know that the director from 1960s has a very moderate attention span. And of course, that's not the focus, but I'm saying. And whereas Murder Drone's creator is a Gen Z from the 21st century, who unfortunately were influenced by social media and all those scope shot films that's trying to preserve the middle area. And that is unfortunately difficult to make visual storytelling out of. And yes, all of these techniques have been used deliberately, like I said, in other pieces of media, but Liam Vickers unfortunately does not understand these. All he wants to do is create a spectacle. Also, a massive fandom could be created here to have have bunch of cheering people for him and bunch of theorists theorizing about lore and mystery box, rather than have high art, cohesive and concise storytelling, masterclasses storytelling. So I like to discuss the issue of the screenplay, because no, if the execution is great but it has no context, it mustn't replace the screenplay. It must be there to enhance it, just like my lighting allergy. Yeah, lighting allergy. Yeah. And the screenplay is very weak. And the execution is more of a spectacle rather than execution. That's why the screenplay suffers. It's an amateurishly written screenplay by an overgrown teenager. I'm sorry, I don't mean any offense. I just want to describe the experience. And even without knowing his experience, I can easily feel it. And this is important to bring up because he only worked on 2 projects before this. He worked on Cliffside and this random episode of a show. And many people who are saying he didn't get enough time, well, well, unfortunately, that's not the issue. Many great storytellers can use less time to tell more concise storytelling, establishing the tone of the project while setting up the plot, and establishing theme while establishing the character. That's what great storytellers do. But this kind of storytelling is difficult as it requires experience. And creators, indie animation creators, don't spend their time doing that. They instead spend their time doing all this mystery boxes and lore stuff. Unfortunately, that's a big issue. So I want more masterful storytelling of flow and dungeon flippers. Even though that show isn't expansive, it is very concise in this storytelling. I'd rather have that than Amazing Digital Circus. No offense, of course. But yes, I'd rather have that. I have to rate this pilot 5.6. Just mediocre. No offense, of course. You can enjoy it. Don't go to the comments and say negative about me. All I want is to give constructive criticism so that the creator of the show, Liam Vickers, can take note and avoid these mistakes. If the creator doesn't learn from the mistakes, they're prone to making more mistakes again in the future. So I wanna make it apparent. So I think this show is obviously actually much worse than they say. And I went through most of this review without mentioning the external factors like the author's biography and the public reception. But it does come into play. If you look at the screenplay of this show, obviously they don't do it, but if you look at the screenplay of the show, it's very weak. If this screenplay were to be presented to the studio, they would reject it. Why? Because it's not the parental guidance rating. It's the amateurish nature of the script. It struggles to have maturity, and that is a big problem with this whole indie space. Most of them rely on spectacle, massive fan base, mystery box and lore, etc. instead of creating a cohesive and concise storytelling, a masterclass in storytelling. And creators are rarely they merely want to execute the idea which will be poorly done instead of practicing their writing and directing and cinematography skills, composition one. So I made this video to help give constructive criticism to Liam Vickers. And there we go. It's going to take me some time to finish the whole show from episode 2 to the finale. So I might take some time for my next part. As usual, goodbye and see you later. probably after some time to see the whole show.